is the Palestinians, the pro-Palestinians have marched, and there's normally been a static counter-protest of pro-Israelis, people from the Jewish faith and from some pro-Iranian monarchists. And they've been relatively easy to manage. If you've got a march and a counter-protest, it tends to be a little bit more fluid. The march can be escorted, but if it's a big march, it can be difficult to escort it. And if you've got people trying hit and run tactics on the march, then it becomes very problematic. So I think the Met thought, well, let's sort of stay on the safe side and try and keep them apart by using the River Thames. And if it works, we may well see this plan employed in the future. So the Met hierarchy are keeping their fingers crossed, as are all the PCs that are having to work and who are not best pleased at missing Mother's Day and not being able to patrol their own force areas or boroughs. So, but anyway, they're there and they will do a professional job.
Yeah, and they've said that they will crack down on any people supporting prescribed groups and also inflammatory placards. That's quite hard to do, isn't it, given there are so many people there? It's
a nightmare, to be quite honest. What they often find is that where two groups are close together, you get what I call the please miss syndrome. So you get people running up to the police officer saying, look, that placard, or he's just said that, or she's just said that, and expecting action. So it's a very difficult one for the police. I think the fact that they're being kept well apart will reduce that possibility. But it is difficult. Normally, in my day, when you police protests, you were basically looking for people who wanted to fight the other side, and if they did, you'd arrest them. It's become very much more complex. Now you're talking about chanting and whether placards are actionable, which really is why policing these protests is not particularly popular with officers, because if they don't get it right, then you get a complaint. And one thing that will certainly happen today is that both sides will accuse the police of two-tier policing.
Chris Hobbs, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
No problem.
This is Sky News Today. Coming up, the impact of the war in Iran reverberates as 3 more members of the Iranian women's football team leave their asylum in Australia and return home.
The cameras are poised here, there, everywhere.
The day those present would never forget.
First question, Sky News.
Do you hate the thought of losing to him?
I hate the thought of losing to anyone.
Historic day here today.
They are pushing forward.
They dashed to the water.
Wait, what country are you
from? The UK.
Why don't you go back to your country?
Huge questions to be grappled with.
That is totally unprecedented.
Been quite some day.
We start with breaking news.
And as you heard, Texas has an upcoming primary. Gonzalez faces 3 Republican challengers. If nobody gets above 50%, there will be a primary runoff election at the end of March. The pressure, though, keeps building on the GOP and on Gonzalez, who is married with 6 children. The Gonzalez congressional staffer who killed herself was named Regina Santos Avalos. One of the text messages released is from May of 2024. Gonzalez asked Avalos to send me a sex pic. He went on to ask her favorite position and then mention multiple sexual acts. The aide, Regina Avalos, replied to the congressman by writing, "This is too far, Tony. Please tell me you didn't hire me because I was hot." Congressman Gonzalez wrote back, "No way." The husband of Regina Avalos says, "This is just the start." Adrian Avalos is demanding accountability on behalf of his late wife and says Congressman Gonzalez keeps lying.
The man has no values. You know, he runs his whole campaign on family values, and he runs everything, you know, saying that he's some family man. You know, he's actually quite of a sick man. You know, I have all the messages that's shared between them two. And, you know, the things that, you know, I just released a tip of the iceberg of the things that this man was telling her. I released just what was, enough information for the people to understand who this person and who they were dealing with. If I were to release everything, again, my biggest thing is protecting my son. I will not release, the salacious messages that went back and forth much deeper than what, and much more graphic, rather, than what I presented to the American people.
All right. So, as you said, there's a lot more that you say is there.
Right.
What will you do,
absolutely.
Adrian, if he doesn't resign, if he continues here? What will you do?
I've already done my part, as far as letting people know who he is. That's up to the people. Again, Aaron, this is not a political thing for me. I want everybody to know that I don't care 2 cents about the whole political matter behind it. I don't care that, it's 2 seats in the, I don't care about all of that. I care about facts. I care about what he has done and how he's continued to lie on Regina's name. He's sitting there and he's bold-faced lied about it, about everything. And to say that the facts are going to come out, I would bet that he does not want me to release all of the messages that show how gross of a man he is.